Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show. We are your 3 Bucks. Eric, Teej, and B.
What's up?
So guys,
Yes.
I was reading something the other day. It said, no Mow May.
No Mow May.
No Mow
No Mow May.
No Mow May.
What comes to mind?
No more mayo.
It sounds
my
No Mow Mayo.
It sounds like an exotic mimosa, like in some from foreign land. No Mow May. You know, the next morning.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking of the stock market, and I'm like, no Mow May. This May has been too terrible. We need to get out. But
Oh, see, Eric needs to get outside and touch grass, man. I'm not worried about the stock market, man. Thinking mimosas.
Come on, man. It's the weekend. We're not talking about the stock market. That's not what we do here.
it is actually just to save bees. So they say stop mowing your lawn for the month of May. So if you were a little lazy and you actually didn't mow it for some reason, you got an excuse in some cities.
No.
Okay. No Mow May. No Mow May.
Teej's favorite month.
Oh, okay.
Remember
Yeah,
that
right.
Remember that one summer you got that notice from the city?
I think you're thinking of the wrong guy. I
You got a citation one time or something, I thought.
No,
you
for no
did.
mow.
Oh yeah.
no, I got a citation.
It was like no mow for the season. And they're like, listen, if you don't cut this grass, we're gonna do it for you.
if I adhere to that no Mow May, I think the city I live in will give me a citation. So I can't do that. I've already mowed a few times in May.
Dude, is this guy
This
dodging the
guy,
fact that
man.
he's received a lawn citation?
He has a short-term memory, man.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? He starts
compartmentalized
mulching.
it.
He starts mulching like one day out of the summer a year, and then he just thinks he's like the dude.
Well, and listen, now he doesn't want to mulch anymore. He goes, guys, did you realize you could spray mulch?
Dude, I was actually okay.
He doesn't want to mulch anymore.
Here's the thing, though. I lay down mulch every year, and then I was looking somewhere where you could just like spray your mulch with the color, and I'm like, why have I been putting in so much hard labor if I can just spray it? I'm just pounding on pounds and pounds of mulch every summer.
It's like that one like SpongeBob commercial. Don't they like? Isn't it like the patty's like brown and gooey, and they just like spray paint the patty to like a nice beautiful color? Like, yes.
There's probably more than just SpongeBob that does that. You probably see that across the U.S.
Farm fish, for one. Farm fish.
Hey, man, I'm trying to
Look
get things
into it.
ready. Well, it is Memorial Day, so I got to get the yard prepared. I'm having people over.
Yeah, you're working smarter. You don't want to break your back before Memorial Day with lifting mulch.
Well, listen, the true test would have been, let us come over. That's what I'm doing, by the way. And
I was hoping that was going to be your answer. I was going to say, what are your plans? But
Well,
I
just
should already know your plans.
which, by the way, I supposedly had an invite on Facebook. I had no clue. Sorry about that, bud.
I'm the
coming.
guy on Facebook that just doesn't accept ever, but might show up.
But you could have done a social experiment. Let us all show up after you had sprayed it, and if nobody says anything, you might be onto something, man.
People would be playing cornhole, and like their shins and stuff would just be turning black.
The cornhole bag falls on the paint.
Everybody starts getting sick like halfway into the party because of fumes. Yeah, but Memorial Day, I was going to say, I was shopping. This is just a weird anecdote, but I was shopping for buying some drinky drinks. I'm looking for Sam Adams beer. It's like my go-to. The freezers or the fridges that usually have all the beer. Literally, I went in there and it's all of it, shelf after shelf after shelf, freezer after freezer. It's all seltzers now. I had to go into like the beer cave, like the room that's like super cold if you're in a t-shirt, and I had to find my Sam Adams in there. And it's just crazy. Like I know the seltzers are like popular, but it almost feels like it's like oversaturated a little bit because like every brand has one now. And not only do they have one, but they have like spin-offs.
Yeah, I feel like the bigger companies are late to that party. And by bigger companies, I mean Bushhauser, Budweiser company that makes all the big domestic beers. Like now it's saturated because they came into the market and they all have their own sort of seltzer and their own spin-off.
They were probably waiting to see if it was going to actually take off, when these first few brands started coming out.
Yeah, the OGs, the White Claw and the Vizzies and those ones for me are like, if I have a seltzer, I'm still repping those guys.
My theory is that maybe the supply chain is poor, so you got Sam Adams is probably now top shelf. Did you look up?
Yeah. No, that is while that is funny, it actually is. There is truth to that because I know a lot of bars or liquor stores are having a hard time getting Corona Light bottles.
Oh, interesting.
For whatever reason, Corona Light bottles because of the supply chain issue.
Cinco de Mayo, people just went too wild this year.
Yeah, well, that could very well be it.
All right, Bucks, let's jump into the show. We have a lot to unwrap. Let's go.
This week's impacts on your Daily Buck. Retail earnings woes as Target, Walmart, and Costco drop between 15 and 30% after earnings. Treasury bonds yield 9.62% right now. Is this a protection against inflation? The NFT space continues to grow as the VeeCon convention held thousands of people in Minneapolis this weekend. Bank of America survey showing the highest cash on hand since 2001, with global optimism at record lows dating back to 2008. The Dow was down 8 consecutive weeks, while the S&P was down 7 weeks. Are we nearing a bottom? This and more, and how it affects your Daily Buck. Hey guys, we're going to talk about a lot of great stocks on today's show. Keep in mind that none of these are buy-sell recommendations. These are for entertainment and educational purposes only.
So let's chat a little bit about these treasury bonds. The I-Series treasury bonds, the site went down because there's a lot of people that were interested in trying to get high interest.
On the topic of bonds, these are the things that you get for your babies or your kids when they're real young, and then they cash them in right at the time of college, and you hope that they're spending it on education, but they're probably just spending it on like going out to the club.
Yeah, well, let's be real too. Usually they're like $50.
Hey man, once they mature, then $100.
Yeah,
But yeah, I-bonds. I-bonds is the topic today. It's the whole protection of an alternative to protect against inflation.
Really, there's just a couple factors that influence them, and because inflation is so high right now, it makes the rate actually higher, the interest rate.
Yeah, it's variable.
Yes. In general, with these bonds, every 6 months, you're going to have the interest rate change. Up until October, you have that 9.62%. It could go up or it could go down after October based on really what inflation does. You can put $10,000 into these bonds per year. That's the max.
I was gonna say, and how often do they mature? Are they 10 year to 30
It takes
year?
10 years to mature. However, if you were to invest in it, you can take it out after 6 months, but you would be penalized. Essentially, the last month's interest gained is what they would penalize you on. If you sell it after 5 years, then you don't get penalized. So you can sell after 5, but you can keep it a max of 10.
It's not a bad play, honestly, because if you think about it, like, where's your money safe right now? It's like the game is about where you can mitigate the most loss, right? Because all of the major indexes are down, and then you have like even your bank savings. If your bank savings is getting like 0.005% and inflation's at 8%, you're still down 7%.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how long you think we're gonna stay in this environment. Just given the fact that Eric said that there's a penalty to withdraw, I feel differently about it if I could get it out a little bit sooner. I would rather probably just keep my money in money.
It reduces the risk, right? So people are looking at the market and they're afraid to invest because it's risky right now. Just on Friday, we entered a bearish trend for the S&P, was it?
Yeah.
And that was midday, but it came back out by close. We don't know what the market's going to do, whereas if you can kind of lock in a 9.62%, pretty close to that in a bearish market, you're going to take that.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people were flocking to this because as you started it out, you said that the website crashed. And if you've ever been to the Treasury Direct website, which is where you obtain these bonds, it's very old school looking. You can definitely tell it's government. It's just very, very old.
Like 1980s computers. I think they need to get this on the blockchain.
It's very, very old, that's
like
probably
that.
why it crashed earlier this month, because a lot of folks flocked to it because it's a very attractive yield. But isn't it coincidence that you mentioned the blockchain? Because this past weekend, there's the VeeCon convention for NFTs. In fact, a lot of folks at the time of this recording are probably on their way back home from Minneapolis, but huge draw from what I'm reading online. Even celebrities were there. Wyclef Jean was there, providing some entertainment for the folks. If you're not familiar with VeeCon convention, this is Gary V, and he's like the, I guess, what would you call him? Like
The father of NFTs.
the father, yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, he's like the father of NFT. So anyways, a lot of keynote speakers. They talk about a lot of upcoming projects, and it's really a big convention where a lot of supporters for NFT can rally behind it, and obviously it's picking up momentum. You can see it when you go into Twitter Spaces, like it's all the jazz.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these NFT projects, and a lot of them are actually doing these meetups.
Yeah.
And then you have the VeeCon, which allows, it's just another way to facilitate collaboration between a lot of these up and coming NFT projects. So I've seen a lot of posts of people meeting in person for the first time, which is just really cool to see.
Yeah, it's bringing the community together. And I think the biggest, in my opinion, benefactor of this gaining momentum is cryptocurrency, because that's probably the majority of how people transact and purchase NFTs or trade NFTs to one another is through cryptocurrency. So the more folks that are behind this, the more adoption there is, and the more folks, the more celebrities that are announcing new NFT projects, it just kind of furthers that adoption, right?
Yeah, I just think that it's you basically your modern day convention on a grander scale, probably more like a concert as well. These meetups are becoming more and more popular, and I really think that Gary Vee and the VeeCon event probably set the precedent in the space for a lot of these meetups.
Plus, I mean, Snoop Dogg was there.
Man, believe it or not, he's got his hands in a lot of cookie jars. I'll tell you what, he really, really does.
Well, so do I sometimes. That's why I have to cut back, lose some weight. I got my hands in too many cookie jars as well.
Yeah, I don't even want to second that live.
Hey, let me ask you something. You know, the year's 2022. Do you remember, just like it was yesterday, 1929?
100%, man. There's a lot of coal on the ground. A lot of contaminants in the air.
The roaring 20s. No, I bring that up because I just thought it was interesting. The Dow, it's been down now 8 consecutive weeks. The last time that happened is 1929. S&P was down 7 weeks, which is the first time since 2001. And prior to that was 1980 and 1970. So, with all the fun they were having at the VeeCon, we had to bring it back down to reality. With some negativeness, right?
Going
Low. So if we look back at Thursday, the 12th of May, these S&P tagged the 3,800 level, and then there was this rally on Friday the 13th. The same thing happened this past Friday, where we were in the low 3,800s, and all of a sudden you had all of this accumulation happen that brought us up positive by the end of the day. So
they got butt up real quick. I mean, I think this next week will definitely be a good indicator of what we can expect going forward with the market, and really, really determine whether or not we do have a guru on our hands, because Teej has also been an advocate for the third and fourth quarters being bullish, and June is a little over a week away.
I am, and I have a fun fact for you guys. The week of Memorial Day, in the upcoming week, since 1971, because that's when Memorial Day became a federal holiday.
Okay.
So, what's that, 50 some years?
Yeah, 1971. You
remember that? Remember that year? Well, the S&P is up 62.7% of the time during that week. Dow Jones is up 51% of the time. So really, that's a real slim margin. But then the NASDAQ is up 64.7% of the time from 1971 to 2021. So
yeah, it could be in our favor. That's over 50%. I'll take it.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, is that the Bank of America, I mentioned the Daily Buck, they had a survey saying that there's the highest cash on hand since 2001. So it kind of goes back to the credence of, are we seeing near a bottom at that 3,800 level? Because the amount of accumulation that happened even on Friday to drive us back up another 2%, so we hit the positives. It could be a lot of people getting ready to deploy a lot of that cash, and some acquisitions we talked about in the last episode, seeing a lot of acquisitions happen. And when global optimism is as low as it is, what's the famous Warren Buffett phrase?
Run while you still can, right?
No, I was going with...
No. I know. Money doesn't matter. You can't take it with you.
I was actually
going
for, do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
No, I've never heard that one, actually. I've never heard of that quote.
Guys, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful, right?
They got to be scared. And that's when you swoop in. So yes. That's the one I was targeting.
Oh man, just look for blood.
There's a lot of that.
Everywhere.
Let me just show you my portfolio this year. It's just all that is. Blood.
Close your eyes. Can you smell that?
No.
Can you taste that?
Taste what?
Can you feel that?
Ooh, I feel my hand clicking like, follow, subscribe to the 3 Bucks, and it feels so good.
Let your voices be heard. The 3 Bucks are on Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, and more.
So the major indexes this week, the Dow was down 2.77% on the 5-day. NASDAQ minus 3.18. S&P minus 2.78. We're down. But what weighs heavily on those indexes? It's the retail stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
And
we saw a lot of retails getting crushed this week.
Retail getting crushed, but they've actually posted really good numbers, positive numbers. A lot of them beat revenue estimates and beat on the bottom line. But I think a lot of the market is reacting negatively to the outlook going forward, which, you know, I'm kind of indifferent about, because I wanted to make the point that our retail companies currently under promising, so that come quarter 3 and 4, they have this effect of like over delivering. Because, you know, when they cut guidance and then the company's stock is slashed in valuation, and then they have a really good quarter relative to the reduced outlook, you know what I mean? It has a really good reaction. So
they're setting the ground. They're basically setting the groundwork for them to be putting out these fire.
Right. Because just imagine,
results.
you know, if they blow out next quarter relative to what they said their reduced outlook was going to be.
Right. Well, I mean, it seemed like that was the common theme across a lot of the major ones that did report out. I mean, Target, minus, they took a 29% hit on their 5-day. Walmart, minus 20%, 5-day. Costco, now they haven't had their earnings yet. That's this upcoming week, but based on the sector performance, they're minus 16%. People reacted to it.
Right.
That, or was the hot dogs. I mean, the rumor has it that the hot dog price, you know, they're going to do this to us on Memorial Day. Increase the price of hot dogs. Is that rumor true?
This is a heavy rumor, but just a rumor. and I believe it was unverified. It is ironic that they tanked, you know, they dropped the same time that rumor was put out there. I think people care more about their hot dogs going up in price before Memorial Day than they do their actual groceries and gas.
So this was a real rumor.
It popped up, but
yeah, it was.
But I think it was a false rumor.
Was it?
I think it's been verified false.
Well, don't worry, guys. We're having sloppy joes anyways this weekend for Memorial Day. So.
Oh well, in that case, I will not be there. I'm a broad.
Oh, you wanted me to load up on bulk with some Costco hot dogs? Is that what you wanted?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, how do you think Costco's going to do this week?
Actually, I'm gonna let Eric handle this one. He is a huge Costco advocate. He's got some funny stories.
Yeah, he waits an hour in line for gas there. So
I actually am not a Costco member. I don't shop.
All right, man. Turn off your mic. You're not a Costco member. Get out of here. Costco is phenomenal, and I do think that they're going to do great on their earnings. Why wouldn't they? You know, you have stores like Target and Walmart. People are overreacting, and yet, you know, some of these people, you know, they're not shopping at Target and Walmart because they're trying to save money. How do you save money? You go buy things in bulk. You go to Costco. Hey, gas, it's pretty expensive. Where do you go get cheap gas?
Well, you could go to my house this weekend. We're gonna have some cheap gas because we'll have some pork and beans on buffet.
God, this is why.
Hey, you asked the question. You asked where we could get cheap gas, and it's gonna be this Sunday at Teej's place.
This is why I don't confirm that I'm going anywhere on Facebook. I always need an out.
Yes.
Well Lucas isn't feeling good. I can already tell you right now. I can't go. My kid's sick. But you know, where do you go to get cheap gas? You go to Costco, and then their membership sales, man. People have memberships there, so.
Well, and they're dabbling in everything too. Don't they have can't you get like your pharmaceuticals there? And
Phones.
I know you can get like business cards and flyers for like small businesses there.
You can get your tires replaced, man. We're just an ad for Costco
glasses,
right now.
Right?
Costco's sponsoring this
podcast. Can you even buy like trips there? Can't you buy like cruises and trips to different?
They have travel agencies there. Yeah,
travel agencies?
They do legit. But what I will say is, in general, I saw a funny meme actually the other day that was when you go to Costco, you're walking out kind of questioning yourself, like, will I live long enough to use all these paper towels? It's so true. But in general, their earnings should be fine, in my opinion. I think they're actually going to thrive because of this.
You don't need a reason nowadays to stock up on a lot of toilet paper or paper towel. People are just loading up for no reason.
That's true, man. It's the same thing with baby formula. It's just gone.
Yeah, that's another thing.
We're gonna be extinct soon because these babies can't even eat. So
We're gonna be extinct soon.
the market doesn't even matter. We're all dying.
This is the last episode.
There's no formula. Oh my gosh! Actually, I was at church today. The priest just goes on and he's like, "Listen, guys, we're low on formula, so I want you all to go out and buy formula and donate it to us." And I'm like, "Well, this could be the problem." You're not.
Wait, what?
Why? Yeah, why is the church?
They're trying to do donations for families, and they're like, we know that there's a lot of people that are low on baby formula, so
The world's low on baby
Wait a second.
formula.
go buy up the formula and donate it to us. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. You have a bunch of people that don't need formula buying formula to donate it.
Wait, they're complaining that their donations to donate are getting low?
Yeah, man.
So speaking of buying in bulk, how about buying stocks in bulk? I'm talking ETF, exchange traded funds. This is where you can buy a basket or a collection of stocks through one index. And this really helps mitigate risk. You know, in times of inflation, we're talking about saving money, especially for a casual investor that may not be looking at their investments on the day-to-day or the minute-to-minute like a day trader might. An index fund or an ETF is a great way to kind of mitigate losses. So if you can't afford one full share of Google, well, how about a fractional share of Google mixed in with similar like-minded companies within one ETF? It's kind of like Memorial Day, man. I went shopping and I bought a lot of chips because I like chips.
I like chips.
I love chips, but guess what I didn't do? I didn't buy 10 bags of Doritos because what if 20 people come and only 3 people like Doritos? That's going to be a problem, right?
But you know that chips are a good performing snack for Memorial Day as well. So you can't go wrong buying chips.
Well, I know it's a good performer when you're there.
You just don't know what chips everybody likes.
That's right. So if I were to buy a salt and vinegar or barbecue, scoops, if I run out of one bag of chips, at least I have others and I don't got to go back to the grocery store. Same thing here with an exchange traded fund. If one stock tanks, it doesn't mean the whole index tanks because it's almost a weighted average of a collection of stocks. So just to name a few to get the brain thinking, if you're interested in the EV sector, not sure what to invest, there's a ticker called LIT.
Ooh, that's lit. I like that one.
You darn right it is. It's a collection of companies that are into lithium and battery tech. If you're into more of the broader market, of course, there's the SPY. You might see that thrown around on the socials quite a bit. Or there's the SPHD, which also tracks a lot of the high dividend payers in the S&P 500. If you're into airline travel, JETS, Jets, which actually has seen an uptick over the last few days with the travel forecast going into Memorial Day.
Yep, but Teej, I think it's important to note that if you are using these ETFs, it comes at a cost. And that's because you have an expense ratio. Essentially what that is, you have someone managing all of these stocks for you. So they're charging you, up to, it could be a 1% charge. So if you wanted to avoid this, you could just look at what the holdings are in that ETF and do your own research that way. Basically, like it's cable TV. What stations do you want, right? You would just pick from that ETF and choose what you want in your portfolio.
Yeah, building your own basket. If you see a technology stock like TECL has Microsoft, NVDA, and Intel as its top 3 holdings that weigh on the index, well, instead of paying the expense ratio of a fund manager that's managing all that, you could just pick up Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Intel yourself, and then you avoid that annual expense ratio.
You can actually look on Yahoo, Market Watchers, plenty of tools to see what the holdings are in these ETFs. But one that I want to mention is ETF.com. They have a very cool filter you can use if you go to their data section. Just to basically find whatever niche you're looking for. So if you're trying to get into the EV sector or if you're trying to get into 5G, you can check these things off and it'll pull up all of the ETFs that are centered around that idea. You can also pull in analyst opinions and such as well. It's a great tool. You can use it for your own research and we'll post it in our Twitter. Hunt of the week.
Markets are down, but opportunities are around. And this is where your $3 talk about securities that are on our watch list that we think are worthy of being on yours as well. I'll kick us off this week, Bucks. My hunt of the week is Apple. It's an apple a day.
Keeps the doctor away. You got it.
Doctor away. Ticker symbol AAPL. I think they closed last week at 137 a share. They are a $2 trillion plus company that we're all familiar with. They make generational products from the iPhone to iPad to iTouch. And more recently, they're trying to get into the electric vehicle sector. But outside of that, they have a very healthy balance sheet. They got over $100 billion in free cash flow. And I think they did something like $386 billion in revenue last quarter alone.
Is it safe to say you're long on Apple?
Yeah, actually, Apple has been in my my DRIP account, my dividend reinvestment plan account, for the last year and a half, 2 years. So I try to dollar cost in and accumulate as much as I possibly can.
Also, we got to show love. We got to show love to the Apple because we have listeners on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, do not want to forget to mention them. Very thankful. We did see an uptick on Apple Podcasts this week. If you do not have Google Play or Spotify, check us out on Apple Podcasts. Eric?
I'm going to keep my hunt super simple. Advanced Micro Devices, AMD. We've all heard of them. What do? They make graphics card chips.
I like graphics.
I like chips.
Keep going. We're interested.
Yes, and I like AMD. The main reason I'm looking at them is because they are beginning to take over some of the gaming space. What do I mean by that? They have partnerships with Sony and Microsoft, so they're making the chips for Xbox and PlayStation. And then Valve, additionally, has their Steam Deck, which is in strict competition with Nintendo Switch.
Oh, don't be challenging my boys at Nintendo.
Strict competition, he says as well.
Yep, this is growing, and so you're going to see their revenues continue to grow. They've been smashing all of their earnings. I don't expect them to do any different. And with Intel really on the sidelines with supply chain as of recent, they haven't been meeting expectations.
That's for sure. They really haven't been. And they've been trying to change the whole narrative too at Intel to become more and more domestic chip manufacturer friendly. But they've fallen behind the ball for sure.
And AMD, they have servers up, so they are ready for the next step in gaming, which could even be the cloud service where you're playing the game strictly from where you don't have to download them, right? One of the biggest issues with gaming right now, inconveniences I should say, is when you have to download updates. When it's in the cloud service, you do not have to download the updates. They update it regularly. So AMD is already being prepared for the next step. They closed at 93.50. I'm long on them, and I feel good about it. Teej, you got a stock for us?
Well, in the spirit of Memorial Day coming up, and a product I'm well stocked in.
I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah. My hunt of the week is BFB, Brown-Forman. Have y'all ever heard of him?
Yes, I actually have heard of him. He makes grills.
That would be George.
Oh, they could be related.
Hey, George is a pretty good guy. He gets rid of the fat.
I'm talking about Jack Daniel's Whiskey is actually who they are.
Ooh.
I would have never guessed because that is a weird ticker symbol.
Yeah, well, they're a parent company that owns several brands, Jack Daniel's being the most prominent one.
Okay.
And they're based in Lynchburg, Tennessee, which is where my father lives. He actually lives right around the corner from the Jack Daniel's distillery. In fact, I got to visit the grave and do a shot on Jack Daniel's grave, so that was interesting. Fun fact. But Brown-Forman, so they closed at in the 62s on Friday. Their fair value, according to Simply Wall Street, is $69.88, which is about a 10% difference from where we're at right now. And they are forecasted to have 10.5% annual earnings growth. The good thing is they are financially healthy from a asset versus liability, both in the short term and long term. So just like Apple, very financially secure. And it's a consumer defensive stocks, which typically do better in times of like inflation. They do pay a dividend, 1.20%, 19 cents a share is what that equates to. So I got to support, man. I'm going to have Jack Daniel's for you to drink this weekend at my place.
I look forward to it. And can I ask, is it long? Are you going to take this back to the grave?
I am long on this stock. I'm long on this stock, and I've mentioned before I'm long on Nintendo. So these are two of the stocks that I own to like because, listen, you want to make money, but you also want to have fun.
And recession proof. You know, you're playing video games drunk.
Yeah. So I'm having fun. I like the stock. So throw it on your watch list and your drink list as well. All right. In the week ahead, we do have some more retail-focused earnings. And the Thre3 Bucks go one-on-one with the Gullum's Guard NFT project. So stay tuned.
And as always, it's hunting time ahead of a new week of opportunities. Thanks for listening to Your 3 Bucks, and connect with us throughout the week on Twitter at 3_Bucks. Got a suggestion? Tweet us, DM us. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy hunting.